Hey everyone, this is Mark. Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching it on Twitch, either or, then thank you very much for joining us. So we're going for episode 3 of Next Top Singer 2025, season 11. I'm seeing a few comments in the YouTube video already. People not very happy about some of the feedback they got, so we're going to get into that very quickly. Something that I've noticed is that if you go onto the score sheet that's on the YouTube comments, there are, let's go to it quickly actually, there are a lot of entries not getting scored this time around. I think it's purely down to the number of people who have entered. So you'll see here on my sheet, I'm going down to 31. This is going all the way down to the 70. So a lot of people not receiving feedback either because of having incomplete entries or that. So let's get into it.
Welcome back once again to Next Top Singer. We are still in the casting round. Please watch episode 1 for an introduction. This year we had 200 auditions, which is absolutely insane. This is by far the largest batch of contestants we've ever had. The P3 Show's team wants to sincerely thank each of you for auditioning and helping Next Top Singer continue to grow. Let's make this the best season yet. With that said, auditions are now closed, and everyone will be receiving their results towards the end of May. To make it in, you have to get a yes signal from at least 2 of the judges. 2 no signals means you are out. If you make it in, please read the description for instructions, and don't forget to confirm your role.
It can be said I'm an early bird. It's 10 o'clock before I say a word. Baby, I can never tell. How do you sleep so well? You keep telling me to live right, to go to bed before the daylight. But then you wake up for the sunrise. You know you don't gotta pretend, baby, now and then. Don't you just wanna wake up, dark as a lake, smelling like a bonfire, lost in a haze of your drunken life, babe. I think it's great. But while in this world, I think I'll take my whiskey neat, my coffee black, in my bed at 3. You're too sweet for me.
So silent.
Okay, so that one's going to be a no, and we'll go for a 1.5, only because when it got to the bridge and the chorus part, there was something. At least the song started to sound distinguishable. The early part, none at all. I think this is the feedback I've given a couple of times already. When you aren't getting enough air moving, it's very difficult to be able to put any kind of singing performance together. There are clearly some issues here that will need to be dealt with, but at least singing louder for the time being, get some air moving and give yourself at least a chance to have some breath support behind what you're doing. You might be able to sort of differentiate a few things to work on from then on. Let's see how the judges take this one.
I gave you a 1 and a no because your pitch was off. You changed the key halfway through. I think you went sharp, but I don't remember. I might have to correct myself in my notes afterward. The emotion is lacking, and it sounds like you're talking for most of it. For this, like the falsetto part, you made it very like staccato, like which means like it's choppy, instead of like, because Too Sweet is very like smooth and it's like rich, and you kind of made it choppy. And I thought your resonance was too narrow for this song. I feel like it should be a little more round.
See, Angelina was nice with it. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know who told you to do this, but they might be your enemy. I won't lie. Because, my brother, why are we in like an entire different octave, like 4 octaves down? I don't know who decided that was that a creative choice? Did you not have the range? Regardless, no, it doesn't sound good. Stop it. Retire, man. Hey, it's okay, but just retire. No, you're here.
Okay, so I've mentioned this a couple of times in the previous couple of episodes. John seems to like to just slam people down with no sort of constructive feedback with it. With that time, at least he mentioned something about being in the wrong octave. So, I mean, fine. Okay, there's something you can work with on that.
Good lord.
See, I'm very demure and very mindful, and John's just like, I curse you and your whole family. Oh.
And I don't regret it because that was okay. No, I can't say that on live television. But that
Oh dear.
that was just not the best performance. I believe he has much to improve, and I think that if he goes and really puts in the effort, he definitely could do something, but just not this year.
So don't retire. Just take some singing classes.
Yeah, retire
Yeah.
to go back and then come out of retirement to blow everybody away. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah, John, you're breaking these people's dreams by saying that they should quit.
Amen. Amen.
You are not Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, ooh. You gotta be British, come on.
Taking his place, bro.
Yeah, you gotta be British for that.
Wait, Star,
I'm too sick to put on an accent right now.
Star, do you want to
But,
give
yeah,
your feedback?
You're the Jamaican Simon Cowell.
Pretty much. Which, actually, no, there is one of those here, because we have a competition similar to this called Digital Rising Star, and the Simon Cowell of ours is Anthony Miller. So, I'm basically just saying, he never has a smile on his face for any performance, and he just looks sad.
Oh.
It's a great time.
I gave you a 4, so I was a little bit more generous than the other judges. Mostly because
Bless
your
your heart,
diction
bless
was
your
good,
heart.
and I could understand what you were saying. But you were off key in the chorus, and the song was out of your range. I don't know if it was because you were singing it too low. It sounded like you were really straining.
Okay, better. I like that. I know I've raised it a couple of times in the previous couple of episodes. If you're going to completely flatten someone, then at least make it productive. I think all three of them gave that guy something that he can take away. So, yeah, like that.
And rainbows, the light shines through, and every hue is on display. I'll save a patient laugh for a rainy day, and use it when the storm clouds go away. There's an ebb to flow, I grow, so I make changes. There's rewrites, losses, gains, and rearrangements. I'm so much more uncertain than I thought I would be, but now I see there's no more way to be me. Now I see there's no more way to be me. And I know putting this recipe to paper is unwise. All of the ingredients are changing all the time. I know putting this recipe to paper is unwise. All of the ingredients are changing all the time. Changing all the time. I'm changing all the time. Changing all the time. I'm changing all the time.
I gave
Okay, interesting one. That's the wrong sheet. Okay, so Ran, this is going to be a yes for me. Again, listening to this one a week or so after the last one, so I haven't got so much of a point of reference, but I'm going to throw that in at a 5.5, I think. So I think what's happening there is we've got the room reverb, which is evident, but I feel like there's also been post-production reverb put onto it, which is why it sounds a little... What's the best way to put it? It sounds like plate reverb and room reverb mixed together, and that's why it's got a kind of... I don't know. I want to say splashy. I'm probably using the wrong word, but the effect to the reverb is a little too powerful, and I don't think you would get that in that room. Even if it is a big, expansive space, I might be wrong. So I feel like the room reverb, if you're putting yourself in that situation to record, that's giving you enough already. As for the singing performance, I think part of the problem with anything that is a little theatrical is there are a little too many choppy parts, which causes issues with timing and makes it difficult to then show what you can do in terms of extending the notes and that sort of thing. I'm liking the flutter at the end of some of the phrases, so a little bit of vibrato along with the sustain. There is a lot of potential in that. I would have liked it to have not had the all the reverb effects, and I probably could have picked up a little more. Also, there's a few things going on that I'd need to, if I had more time, listen to it a bit more, maybe I could have picked up on. But yeah, good stuff.
I gave you a yes. I said your pitch was inconsistent, and also you were recording in a super echoey place. I thought your voice was nice and your resonance was good, and that's why I gave you a yes. But I'm not gonna fight for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was just okay. There just wasn't really that much. That's really it. There's nothing I can say that's bad about it. It's like the super lead sense. It was just It was ordinary. Wasn't bad. Just wasn't that grand.
For me, the quality was fuzzy. There was too much echo. You had a decent tone, but your diction really needs work. I couldn't understand like half of the words. It's hard to get the point of a song across if you can't understand what's being said.
Yeah. Nowadays, these echo versions of different covers are very popular, but that's not really great for an audition where the quality of your voice really needs to be able to be evaluated, because the echo just muddles it all, especially for an a cappella audition. So that's a bit of a shame, because I did hear talent there, but it was too muddled.
Oh, okay. I mean, I would have maybe, if there was potential there, again, I said yes, especially in the casting round. But, okay.
Living in the past, overthinking all your words, maybe they were all lies. Quit me like a cigarette, play me like a clarinet, see the river, I'm crying. My heart is sore from pulling out these thorns. These minted scars, they reopen every time. You don't call me. You moved on like you'd had enough. And now the memories are hitting me differently. I'm 6 feet deep when I see roses. Roses. It's killing me to know there's someone else out there buying you roses. Roses. I'm triggered every Valentine's. Don't wanna see no roses.
I gave it a 9?
What?
Okay, so that's going to be a yes from me. A little production thing just while I figure out a score. Letting that reverb tail a little longer might be a good thing. It just feels a little clipped. Like there's reverb, there's none. It's kind of like there's a noise gate on. So maybe just letting the reverb tail on a little longer, extending the delay would be a good thing. That's a yes and a 6.5 for me. It's interesting sometimes when you see a picture of someone and then the voice that comes out is completely different. I wasn't expecting the warmth and the soul to come out of it. There is a little thing that might come up in the later rounds that worries me a little bit. It feels almost mechanical. There's no sort of flow between what's the best way to put it? In the transitions, it just feels like it's there to there, and there's no sort of sweep from one note into the other, which is fine, but it also feels very much like mechanical is probably the best word to put it. It feels like a voice that's been very heavily coached more than anything else. The timing is there, but I feel like it's a little too precise, and maybe there's some room to move about a little bit, maybe fall a little late in the beat, so it doesn't feel so sort of boxed in. Also, the transitions, I mean, some of those high notes were impressive, but again, they were kind of thrown onto you. I like it, though. It's definitely got some potential. I probably, again, if I'd listened to it a couple of times, would have come up with a few more notes. But first impressions, I like that one a lot.
Whoa.
And a yes?
Oh, John,
I gave it a 2.
And
how did you give it a yes and a 2?
John gave a 2 and a yes.
Alright, hear me out. It was the auto-tune. I can hear that there's something behind the voice, but the auto-tune is just... Jesus.
Building off of that, are you done with what you were trying to say?
Yeah, there's literally nothing else. She has talent, just the auto-tune.
I agree. It sounds a bit overproduced, but I don't think it was like that bad. I don't think they used a ton of autotune because I still heard pitchy areas. Your voice is nice, your resonance is nice, and your technique is pretty good. I didn't like how much you cut it because it breaks the immersion. Like if I constantly hear cuts, if you're gonna cut in certain places, make it very discreet. Like don't let us hear that you're cutting the track. And I think. Okay, I listened to the original because again I didn't know the song, so I said like I could just use more emotion because the original I think it was really emotional and it's all about connecting to your audience. You gotta put that emotion.
There was definitely some pitch correction, but good range, good diction, clear high notes, and I was pretty impressed. But yeah, maybe next time little less pitch correction.
Glad you caught that.
Okay. My question for this would be, what experience do the judges have with pitch correction and auto-tune and that sort of thing? Same issue that I had in the last season that I judged. I mean, as far as I'm aware, auto-tune technology hasn't really come on a lot in the last 10 years. It is what it is. I think there's stuff going on with AI voices, and you can kind of plug a load of samples in and create like an AI version of a voice that can be pretty much pitch perfect, but that's still quite a new thing. Generally, it is what it is. I've used a couple of sort of pitch corrections and auto tunes on a couple of bits of software. I've used Reaper for years. That's my sort of go-to. And essentially, you put in the key of the song, you get grayed out areas and you get white areas where the keys are. You get your waveform and you can kind of draw on with your mouse or with a virtual pencil if you like, and it brings stuff up. I don't have perfect pitch, so it's actually an interesting tool to plug raw vocals into it and see how close or how far away it is. But auto-tune isn't, it's not, you're not going to paint a whole car with it. It's one of those little sort of touch-up sticks. Unless what you're putting in is already pretty close to what you're working with, then it isn't going to work. You can't put something that is completely off pitch and make it on pitch. You can, but then it sounds like chipmunk voice because of how far you have to go. So for me, auto-tune's the kind of, you get something that to my ear, not having perfect pitch, sounds good. It sounds like the kind of thing that I would want to put into a competition like this or put into a produced track. And then I might go in and touch it up just because I can. But it's one of those, because it sounds good enough to me as is, any little touch-ups, again, aren't going to sound profoundly different. I feel like, because I know I was on a panel with two judges that didn't really understand how it worked. So if you start throwing the word around, there are issues with it. And we had a season where it kept getting thrown around and kind of ruined things a little bit, I think. My personal opinion on this is that the judges just have to deal with what's put in front of them because they don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. There could be people that don't have any sort of warmth in their voice, just bringing up an EQ and turning up the bass and putting some warmth in that way, as if showing they've got more lower end breath support that they don't, for example. You can't really tell. There might be people that are getting close and then just putting it in and touching a few things up on their lead lines, and technically it's auto-tuned, but it's nothing beyond what someone would normally do. There was one that I picked up in, I think, the first episode when someone hasn't recorded multiple lines of vocal. They've just used an octaver to put in an upper and a lower. And if it's subtle, again, you can get away with that. It just sounds like a very thick voice as long as you dial it right down in the mix. It's one of those things that you can do. Way back in the day, it used to be you would double track, so you would record. This is on the days of recording on tape. You would record and then record it again, but sing it in a slightly different way, put them together in a blend. and that sort of double tracking thing is sort of copied, but using different ways of doing it, either with a chorus effect or with an octave effect these days. But it's very common. There are a lot of things that you can do where you probably wouldn't notice, and unless you've got raw stems, which you're not going to get, if you ask for raw stems, you could just give someone an auto-tuned raw vocal. And again, if it's close enough, you wouldn't really be able to tell. Yeah, I feel that like this speculation of what's been used, what's not been used, unless it's blatant reverb, is a little difficult. I can just see people getting nixed for putting things in that they haven't, which isn't particularly fair to me.
My name is John Luke A, and I'm going to be singing Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Thank you.
Nice for
Okay, so that is going to be a yes from me, and I'm going to throw a 5 on it. So with a voice like this, there's always questions about versatility. That will come up in later stages, I'm sure. But it'd be nice to know that they've got a little bit more range. Otherwise, it's going to limit them a little bit in some of the later rounds. I'm thinking there needs to be a little more breath support in some of those sustains. There are times when it's sort of moving around, and I wonder if it's moving around because you can't hold the note for long enough. But there is some nice sustain in there. There is some nice warmth in there. Something feels a little off to me, and I don't really know what this is. I'd have to listen back to it a couple of times and try and figure it out. But for a voice that is so bassy and so deep, it feels like there's a little bit of bottom end missing. I don't know if that is a production choice, an EQ choice, a microphone that isn't necessarily equipped to deal with that. Just an interesting thing. I would have expected a little more bass end for a voice that can hit that kind of range, but maybe I'm wrong.
Vibrato, very rich, low notes, good diction, good audio quality, and well-supported vocals. I don't remember this one very well because I was on pain pills. For my pain, I'm not taking them for fun. I should add that. Don't take pain pills for fun, kids.
She's just taking them just cause.
But yeah, no, I think you did a good job.
Yeah, just good. It was just a good performance.
Mm-hmm. For me, I gave you the lowest score out of the judges. I'm sorry for that. Ooh, don't get mad at me. I said you had a nice voice, but your pitch was a little inconsistent. Your emotion is nice, your resonance is nice, and your vibrato is nice. But the main thing that got me a bit I was like, ooh, I don't really like that. Your tone is a bit inconsistent. Some parts you sing very round, and then other times you sing with a pop technique or the way you enunciate, and that just threw me off. I don't really like that. I think your tone should stay consistent, and it shouldn't sound like your techniques are trying to match and mix.
And also, don't pick this song for auditions for future reference.
It's overplayed.
It's the second most overused song in this competition, and I don't really understand why, because it's not. It doesn't have that much dynamics or a range
it's
or anything.
It's just an easy song to do, and it's a song that anyone can sound good in if you have basic practice.
But it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be impressive. I mean, if you're trying to convince people to cast you for something, then it should be.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
It should be hard, or at least to your level. But it shouldn't be just an easy song with nothing to to like show for it.
That reminded me
Full
of.
disclosure, I almost auditioned to be a singer. But then I was just like, I'm too scared.
Oh, come on. Yeah, you'd be scared.
So I decided to be a big meanie instead.
I mean, if John was roasting you, then uh-oh.
Oh no, but I couldn't. No,
You don't. But you wouldn't know her if you were just
now
judging.
That I know you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
If I was just judging and I didn't know, and I was like, the performance is bad. Yeah, sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah, it would have been over for you. But like, I know you now. You're a sweetheart. I can't do that to you.
And you were more needed on the panel anyway, so I'm glad you decided to be a judge.
Thank you.
Those thoughts of past lovers, they always help me. I wish I could believe you never wronged me. Then will you remember me in the same way as I remember you?
Why did you only use 20 seconds to sing? Dude.
Amen.
You had...
Okay, I was replying to a message. That's going to be a no from me, and that's going to be a 1. If you have time, use the full time. That is pretty much a given, and I couldn't distinguish what the song was in that 20 seconds that we got. So this will be a quick one.
1 minute and you used 20 seconds? Like, don't do that. Like, you gotta use all your time. Try to get as much as you can.
Exactly. You gotta squeeze every bit of vocals out.
You've been nothing but a thorn in my side since day one. But I am Van Tokyo, the great and now not. Ha! Be outdone. Welcome to Van Tokyo Spectacular Theater in the Pound. Please excuse my thespian vernacular when I say thou is going down. I've had enough of you, so time to be my puppet on a string. I've had enough of you. Oh, dance, my little Muppet plaything.
Hammersmash, I think his name would be called.
Okay, that's going to be a yes from me, and I'm going to go in at a 4. I would be curious if there was a rock and metal round, if we could put that guy in some System of a Down. I think he'd be able to pull it off quite well. There is some potential there, and the difficult thing with any kind of musical theatre, as always, is if someone comes in with their opening entry, what versatility do they have for other things? I know it was a serious audition, but it's something that could be questioned a little bit as well, in terms of it's so off the wall, and it's in such a... I use pigeonholed a lot, but it's in such a narrow range that it doesn't really show a lot in terms of what this guy can do for a whole singing competition, but there is some potential there. He certainly has some uniqueness that could be interesting if that can be channeled into something a little more mainstream. We will see. This is one of those I hope that they decide to push him through. Given it is a casting round, it's very early on, and as long as we're seeing potential as someone that has a voice, it would be nice to see them continue. But it seems like that trend hasn't really followed with the panel this time around. They see a bit of potential, but they're not putting them through.
I remember hearing his vocals at first. I'm like, that's not his actual voice. So I went to go check the song. And I'm like, okay, yeah, so he's doing a character voice. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. So I can't rate him down for that. And for all intents and purposes, it was really good. Like, it was, like, really good, like, character-wise. He was singing in the voice pretty well. He was on key and everything. So I gave him a 6 just because I'm like, yeah, he's doing what he needs to, and he's putting in the work. He's good. He's good.
Sorry, do you want to go next?
I wrote specifically, this is a singing competition, not a voice acting competition.
Fair.
And it reminds me of Meowth from Pokemon.
I was gonna say,
not necessarily a bad thing, but it sounded like Meowth. Good diction, though. Fun, lots of emotion, but it was really just an impression rather than an original interpretation. I went and I listened to the original, and it was just an impression of the original. I want to hear your version of the song, not exactly what the original singer did.
Tough. Mm-hmm. All right, that's true. That's real.
With me, okay, I feel a little bit differently. If it's an impression of the singer, I think that's like no. But this one's like more of a character song, like in musicals and stuff where there's like a song where it's very characterized. If that's the right word. I personally don't love that for audition, like for an audition round. But I'm not gonna dog as much as if they were like trying to imitate, like for example, like Elvis. What I said was there was a lot of growl. I wouldn't choose such a charactery song for your first impression because that's not your voice. I would not do that.
Yeah, that's why I rated him a 6 because like I'm trying to hear you and not you impersonating
that's why I
someone
didn't.
else.
I was like, I feel like they have something in there. They just didn't show what their voice sounded like, so I put them through.
Yeah.
I said their pitch was pretty good, and they could use a bit more dynamic contrast, though.
It seems I am outvoted.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I
Welcome
don't.
to my world. That was me last season.
And so I feel like we've had a
I
fair
don't
share
like
of
ones that are
outvoting.
just impressions.
I think we have a fair amount of outvotings.
True.
Yeah.
It's not like a single person as of right now. Maybe my 4 curse though, a little bit. Okay.
Okay, so this is an interesting one to sort of pick up on. I feel like how it's been in previous seasons is there's been a lot of stock on producing a good cover, which sort of producing a good cover, I guess the criteria for that is that you do get quite close to the original vocal, the original dynamics, etc., etc. I feel like on the panel that I was on, I was maybe the outlier in that I would go for... I would really rate people that put their own spin on things, but I would also maybe dock people that put their own spin on things but weren't able to execute it as well as maybe we would have liked. There was probably 3 seasons that I can think of off the top of my head where I ended up in this head versus heart decision in terms of who was going to be my eventual winner. It would be someone that's produced very good covers throughout, but hasn't really deviated away from the original version, versus the heart decision when someone is clearly a talented vocalist. They've got all the way to the final, but they showed their own personality a lot more, and they weren't afraid to change the song a little bit in order to put their own slant on things. And it feels like that was maybe... I mean, I was the outlier on that to a point, but I feel like I was able to talk the other judges around to seeing my point of view. These guys seem to be thinking along those lines a lot more from the outset, which to me is a good thing. I think being able to take something and put your own slant on it is overall... I put more stock in that than just being able to deliver a good cover. Because if you deliver a good cover of Elvis or Adele or you name it, you throw it out there, it's very difficult to then put something out that's going to be better than the original. But if you take it in a slightly different direction, put your own slant on it, and give it a different take, then there will be people that would prefer your version maybe, and there are people that might prefer the original. But that's subjectivity, that's opinion, that sort of happens. I don't think you're ever going to end up in a situation where if you take a song and you replicate the exact dynamics, the exact phrasing, and you're going to be able to bring something to the table that's better than the original. Depends who it is. If you're talking... I hate to throw someone under the bus at random. If you're talking Girls Aloud, for example, then there's a good chance that you would be able to do a better job, but a few of them clearly lacked some talent. It was produced. There's lots of produced boy bands, girl bands, and whatever, especially from the 90s, early 2000s, where if you took their individual voices, I'm sure you could do a better job, but it just kind of worked in that context.
Morning, sleepyhead, you've been resting for a while. I swore that you were dead when you washed up on my aisle. Did you know you talk in your sleep? Tell me though, who's Penelope? She's my wife. Anyways, I got all you can want here, all you can need here, just you and me, my dear, my love for life. Soon into bed we'll climb and spend our time. I'm not your man. I'm what you want here, I'm what you need here, just you and me, my love in paradise. Now till the end of time, from here on out you're mine, all mine.
For this
one. Okay, all this stuff I've been saying about hearing things and hearing potential and the like, this one's going to be a no for me, and it's going to be a 3. So, couple of issues, and there is one outlier that makes me change this from a yes to a no. I am hearing some potential. There is a little bit of sustain in there and quite a nice tone. But there are... It's one of those of poor song choice. I don't know what the song is, and I would normally listen to the original. I haven't here because we're just going for an on-the-spot reaction. But clearly, it's very chopped up. So that limits you in your ability to really show anything like sustain, vibrato, dynamic, really. You just need to chop through the phrases. One of the big reasons why I don't like K-pop and J-pop really for a singing competition. Also, there are issues that come up from timing. With that, it might feel like you're rushing, and it might sound like you're rushing. In the middle part, that clearly happens. The thing for me, though, that stands out and why this is a no from me is when the second vocal comes in, it's clearly just in the wrong place. It's muddy, doesn't really make sense in the context of the song, I don't think. The pitch is thrown off as well by that point as well. But my main reason for this is when you get into the later stages of this competition, having been through it a number of years, you can always say you never know what you're going to get, but you do it for 4 or 5 years, you kind of know what you're going to get, right? So there will be people that know how to blend vocals and will record. I think at one point in a couple of seasons ago, someone had an 8-part vocal harmony. And they got through to the final and were the eventual winner of the thing. And that shows the level that people will get to. They're not doing anything that's tricky. They're just using their voice in a very clever way with a bit of production to make that all come together. And this is someone that clearly doesn't understand how to do that yet. They're at a very early stage of that. And I feel like they don't have enough time to be able to learn those skills, to be able to use their voice effectively when it comes to the full production stuff later on.
This one I featured it because I have to talk about it. Lele, I frankly was a bit disappointed. I love this song. I'm not saying that's why I gave you such a low score. I'll give you my reasons, okay? Your pitch is inconsistent. You go up, you go sharp and up a key during the male parts, like the part where it's like she's my wife and I'm not your man. Every single time you did one of those, it would raise the key, and then you would in turn go up with that same key. So it started at like the normal key, right? And then you started going up and you went up one more time. And like personally, I think that's a very big red flag, the fact that you didn't realize that you went up 2 different keys. Your breath support was shaky. It just required more emotion, especially like the guy part. If you were gonna sing the guy part, he is distraught. Like he wants to go home. Like he wants to go see his wife. And also, you only used 45 seconds of your whole time, and your energy was okay. So I gave you a 3.5 and a no.
Kind of the same thing, because like you kept jumping up notes for no reason. Especially when you hear the "I'm not your man." Like why are we jumping up? Stay in the same place. And then also, like we saying before, this man is distraught. He just got dropped by Poseidon, had his crew murdered. Now he's on this desert island with this random lady who wants to sleep with him for no reason. Like this man wants to go home. Like you just didn't bring that energy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I kind of just agree with my fellow judges, but I did feel there was some potential, so I did give you a 6. I guess I didn't think there was enough potential to give you a yes.
Okay, along the same sort of lines, good to hear some context on the intention of the song as well. That's useful. That's good information to have at times, especially when I don't know it myself.
Charred through my bones with nowhere to hide. I'm exhausted. The time has come to rest. This violent and hateful cloud always shrouds over me. Why can't I shed this shadow I cast? A part of me that won't let go forever torments me so. Take this rage from me. I'm just a man, my head's a mess.
5 no.
Okay, that went a little too soon, so we've heard one of the first scores, but let's go for yes. My score is probably, I was going to say that was going to be a 5 as well, but no, that's going to be a 4.5 for me. So clearly there's some issues with microphone quality or something like that. There's a lot of breathiness as well, so maybe a pop shield or maybe stepping back from the microphone just a little bit might be worthwhile. I'm seeing potential here, and I feel like Jake could... The part that he doesn't use very much is when he belts and he pushes from his diaphragm, and that is the part that I enjoy. The parts that I enjoy less so is... the rest of it sounds quite harsh, but it feels like a lot of the notes that he's singing are getting caught sort of here. There's a lot of nasality in it, and sometimes that works well for people. In this occasion, I don't think it really does. It seems sort of... It sounds stifled. It sounds a little mumbly, so the phrases aren't coming out all that clean. And it sounds a little... I can't really even come up with a word. It sounds a little bit over-processed almost. But I think it's just a case of that's where his voice goes to. I think he needs to keep a lot more air moving. Sing from the diaphragm a lot more. Get a lot more chest voice, which may mean getting... It may mean he needs to have his song choice along that line so he can do lots of belting, and then he can work on the head voice thing, because clearly something up there isn't working as well as we would have liked. Because I've not had that problem personally, I haven't tried to remedy it, and like I might have said in the first episode, I've not had any formal singing coaching, so I don't know really how to deal with that, but I'm sure there must be plenty. And let's have a look now, actually. So if I did a search on YouTube, so dealing with nasality when singing. How to not sing nasal, how to stop nasal sound when singing, how to stop nasal voice. Simple solution for nasal voice. There are plenty of options out there. I feel like that side of his technique is something he could probably polish up quite quickly. And then if he can lean on the power of his chest voice up to that point until he gets a few things dialed in, he could potentially progress in this competition. So it would be a yes for me.
Oh,
what?
I voted once again. What? Wait, this one was actually okay.
What?
Wait, this one was actually good, guys.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
What are you
Can
doing?
we listen to it again?
He's like one of my favorite auditions.
Okay, alright, hold on. Let me listen to it, bro.
Petri, I'm noticing a pattern. Your favorite ones are the ones that have auto-tune. or mix, like a high mix.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was what I'm saying. The auto-tune.
I didn't think it did.
Okay,
Auto-tune was what bumped it.
to be fair, you should take my opinions with a grain of salt because I haven't heard them as much as you guys since I'm not judging this round.
No,
so. Yeah, but that was my initial reaction, and he did a original song, and that always like
I'm gonna drop mine down a
puts
point.
that extra soul into it.
I'm gonna drop mine down a point because I forgot how auto-tuned it sound. I'm gonna become.
Yeah, no, it is super auto-tuned.
Yeah, because that's the thing about it. Because I know auto-tune can be an artistic choice, and here it kind of sounds like what Travis Scott or T-Pain would have done if they were like doing a song.
You know what? Never mind.
But,
I'm not gonna fight for it.
Yeah, like I'm just for this one specifically, like in this competition, auto-tune just makes everything sound all mucky because it's like, okay, cool, we can hear the auto-tune and now we barely know what your actual voice sounds like, so it just kind of messes it up. I can tell this is an artistic choice in this case, and not a sense of I'm correcting my vocals so it can sound pitch perfect. But still, it just, to me, when you're doing an audition, when you're doing an audition like this, you can't be using auto-tune this heavily. Like in the other ones we've had before, you've seen the auto-tune and we've heard it, but they were only used for pitch corrections. And we could kind of like see past that to an extent. But with this, I can't. Sorry.
But are you completely sure though? Because there has been mistakes before where the judges thought it was autotune and then it was just
I personally
specific voice.
I pride myself in being like I have a very good ear and I can usually tell when it's mixed or autotune, and this is definitely autotune. Like I can't like.
All right. If
it's not
if all of you heard that, then fair enough.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. I don't necessarily dislike the performance nor the song. It's just in this specific competition when we're dealing with raw vocals, auto-tune just makes it iffy.
Oh wait, can we
fine
feature
that
this
you
one?
used it, but you know, yeah, we probably should.
This
since
one's
we've
pretty.
been talking about
We've
it
been
for so
heated.
long.
We've been heated.
So his audition overall then wasn't good enough to like overcome that. I mean,
I personally think
did his talent shine through?
I personally
Let
put
me
a
listen
yes.
to the rest of him.
See, I put a yes, but I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna fight for him if they don't like it. So
I mean, I'll listen to it again.
I think he had nice other stuff, but like maybe the auto-tune was helping with a lot of it because I have a big issue with pitch, so maybe the auto-tune like just like I don't know.
Like his talent is there. I can hear it like past the auto-tune, but it's just iffy. Especially when it's this heavy. I feel like if it was just like here and there, I probably wouldn't mind. But it's just all throughout. And then like trying to go for this Travis Scott T-Pain-esque sound feels really off.
Because I'm not gonna fight
vocals.
for it because. Like, for example, if you're singing a high note and you're auto-tuning it, it actually makes it sound that, like, the technique is also good. You could have bad technique and use auto-tune, and it'll influence it, and it'll make it sound, like, less strained. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. I want everyone to compete on an like evil playing field, and if people use heavy autotune and stuff that which not everyone can do, everyone can't afford that. So I guess that's
I get
fair.
I'm gonna change it to a
That's fair
7.
enough.
I'm not gonna drop it down a whole point.
I think he has mad potential though.
You know, there's potential, but it was all covered up by the fact that he used such heavy pitch correction.
Yeah, I don't like how he did that. If it was maybe a later round, I would be like, okay, that's fine. But
Probably,
like,
yeah.
that's not a good first impression to make, and we can't tell if your technique is good, like, because the autotune can't cover it up. So
Yeah, we can't just assume certain stuff.
All right, I'm gonna have to let that go. I did this to myself. I chose to step
It's
out,
fine.
so I can't.
Yeah,
I can't
Petrie's like,
blame
It
you
was
guys
a good
for
discussion.
for what you for the
It's a good
decisions you
discussion.
make.
It's a good discussion.
I do think that he probably is more talented, but I mean like it's just a lot of autotune, and I'm not gonna like start screaming and being like no keep him. So yeah.
I mean,
all right, sorry, but I hope we hear from you again another time.
Yeah.
Petrie is
Another
devastated.
day.
Petrie's crying in the shower.
I know. I can hear the devastation in this man's voice.
Okay, wait. 65. What did you put, Star?
We have a lot of auto-tune experts, apparently. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier on in this clip. I feel like it's tough. If you start getting into the whole discussion of who's using what, who's not using it, I mean, John said at the end that we can't really... Let me go back to that, actually. I'll try and go back to that.
we hear from you again another time.
Yeah.
Petri is
Another
devastated.
day.
Petri's crying in the shower.
I know. I can hear the devastation in this man's voice.
Okay, wait. 65. What did you put, Star? Cover it up. So I'm.
Yeah, we can't just assume certain stuff.
All right, I'm.
Yeah, that's we can't assume certain stuff. So I'm guessing the context is wording that is you can't assume that someone has talent behind using auto-tune, but by the same token, there's been a couple of we've assumed that they're using auto-tune without necessarily knowing it. So,
part, even if it's not super climactic. But my main thing was, I know there was a TikTok trend where you sang snowman without taking a breath. You tried doing that. No offense, it kind of did not eat.
Don't cry, no.
I missed one. I missed the entry. Let's go.
Devastated. Petri's crying in the shower.
I know. I can hear the devastation in this man's voice.
Okay, wait. 65. What did you put, Star?
Don't cry, snowman, not in front of me. Ooh, got your tears if you can't catch me, darling. If you can't catch me, darling. Don't cry, snowman, don't leave me this way. A bottle of water can hold me close, baby. Can hold me close, baby. I want you to know that I'm never leaving, 'cause I miss the snow till that will be freezing. Yeah, you are my home for all seasons. So come on, let's go below zero and hide from the sun. I love you forever and we'll have some fun. Let's dance with the North Pole and live happily. Please don't cry no tears now, it's Christmas, baby. My snowman and me.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, so this one is going to be a yes from me. It's going to be in a similar kind of level, probably about a 4.5. There is some potential. There are parts of that I liked a lot more than others. There are times when it feels a little mumbly, and it's odd because it's all in one sustained breath, but it's quite choppy in terms of how it moves between the pitches. I'd like that to be smoothed out a little bit. And yeah, it just feels a lot of it isn't being enunciated enough.
Oh, you're outvoted.
Fair. Like, honestly, like, I'll be real with you. She found her way throughout the song, and like during the end part, she really did finish off a lot better than she started.
Yep.
I think it's a very soft no for me in this situation. Like, again, she has bad potential. I think if she keeps practicing, she'd be good.
Okay. Am I allowed to start off with this one? Because I have a reason for featuring this one. I'll start with my basic notes before the main thing. So I just said you were a bit raspy. It sounded like you were kind of sick. I don't know if you were just like naturally raspy, but it sounded like you had some like, in your throat.
Phlegm.
Yeah, phlegm. I just wanted to make the sound. Okay. I said your pitch was a bit off. You go down a key during the chorus. It sounds unsupported to me. It lacks dynamic. Your chorus should be like a little louder or more powerful. Like, I know this song isn't exactly a powerful song, but your dynamic should still show. Usually the chorus is the most climactic part, even if it's not super climactic. But my main thing was, I know there was a TikTok trend where you sang snowman without taking a breath. You tried doing that. No offense, it kind of did not eat. It did not sound that good. Just for context for the judges, you can cut this out, Petri. Do you guys know like the snowman trend?
Yeah.
I think I do.
There is like this...
No, I don't.
There was this trend where it was like the chorus. You would sing the whole thing without taking a breath. That's what it sounded like they tried to do for the audition.
And I'm cutting this out?
You don't have to. You don't have to. But I'm just saying, like, if it's too much, it's just like... If you want to include that in your audition, you have to nail it. You have to make it sound like, dang, she can really sing through that without taking a breath. But it cannot sound like you're slowly losing air, and it cannot sound like you're slowly, like, running out and, like, trying really hard. If you're going to try to show that part off, it has to be flawless, or, like, it has to sound like your breath support is really strong. Not just, oh, I'm going to try to not breathe during this part to show off. But yeah, it sounded like you were just, like, slowly, like, running out of air, and it just didn't sound that good.
I said good tone needs emotion. And
Valid,
audio was
valid.
fuzzy, and the diction was okay.
Okay, time for me to sing the snowman trend. Oh, I was kidding.
No.
Hi, I am Jinx. I'm a 19-year-old tenor singer from Pennsylvania. I'm in singing lessons. The song I'm going to be singing is kind of a demo. It's by a band I like called War Parks. The records spread across my floor make me insecure. Because bigger than me, until I write one more. So I cut out the faces on my favorite magazine. Trade Justin Bieber for a pic of me. And now I'm talking to the mirror like, oh God, what's wrong? I'm talking to myself again. And now I'm talking to the mirror like, oh God, what's wrong? I'm talking to myself again. I don't hate Houston, it just makes me feel small.
Look, I don't have the heart to diss him, to be...
Okay, so this one is going to be a no from me, and it's going to be a 1.5. The half a point is, I mean, to be able to get up to that high, it's a suggestion of some potential range, but I would say stick with the singing lessons for now, and maybe see what happens in a year's time.
Quite frankly, he said he's taking vocal lessons.
Oh.
So honestly, bro, just keep at it.
Isn't
Genuinely,
that
I
literally
believe
more of a reason to diss someone? The fact that they're like, yes, I take voice lessons, and then they're like,
no.
Oh,
Look,
okay.
here's the thing. In my eyes, he's clearly trying to improve himself.
Mhm.
I don't want to demean him for that. Go off and keep practicing. I believe in you, bro. Come back next year for real. I want to see what you do.
Yeah, my main thing for that one, since Petri already highlighted it blue, I think you just picked a bad song for your range. I think the song is too high.
Sure.
That was my main thing. Your falsetto is not as supported, and I think if you work on that more in voice lessons, it'll help. But I wouldn't have chosen that song if you don't have like a supported falsetto yet. Okay, 72.
Yeah, falsetto without real support is a pet peeve of mine, definitely.
Sounds like they didn't really know this song either.
Oh, I don't know the song either, so I wouldn't know.
Me neither, but just like they sounded really unsure of the words. So.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, that's another one down. It seems like we are getting into another auto-tune season, so that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, especially in the later stages. And when you're down to a few singers and you're hearing them regularly, and that's the reason they don't progress. Could be some flashpoints with it, but it's been an interesting experience. I'm liking that there was no slamming anyone down with no constructive feedback this time around, which is a plus. I'm liking actually the direction that the judges are taking, as I mentioned, looking more at putting their own slant on things as being a positive rather than just covering the original artist. That's along the similar kind of lines to how I've judged as well. So maybe that will impact quite nicely going into the later stages, but we're still... How many have we done so far? 70 odd. So we're still less than halfway through the number of total entries. So wow. Okay. Let's see if we can keep it going. Looking forward to the next one, and I will catch you next time.